Hey guys, how we doing? It's Jimmy here, and today I'm going to be filming a video on all my likes with my Jaguar Sovereign, 1987 Sovereign. So this is more the stuff that actually came with the car from factory and that I personally love and think they're awesome features. We're going to be filming this down in Wanganui River. It's a beautiful day out today. Just the water's stunning, everyone's out, we got boats riding around, people with bikes, dogs. It's really nice down here, and I thought it's a beautiful spot to film a car video, so let's get into it. So we're starting off in the interior here. This is probably the most comfiest car I've ever owned. The leather seats are really nice and they're holding up really well for being 35 years old. I've had to do a few repairs there and there, but they're actually very comfy. They're not too hard. The issues I had with my Mercedes were the leather was too hard on you. You felt like you're really trying to wear it in, so when you're doing a long trip for a few hours it could be quite difficult. So these seats are really nice. You can do a long trip. I've done a few long trips in this now and I don't get a sore back. It's really comfy. And I think they look really nice too. My ones are all painted black, along with the rest of the trim. This car was originally blue. It had horrible blue leather. It was I absolutely hated it. And I really liked the XJR black on black look, so that's why I went with that. Other than that, the space, there's so much space in here. You feel you cannot touch each side of the car, and that's because there's no airbags, so the doors are a lot more slimmer, but it is nice being able to have that room and move down, and the seats still tuck you in enough, since they're bucket seats, I guess you would say, just not racing ones. Heaps of space, heaps of things. The only disadvantage is when you're doing your lever sticks, if you're running through Tiptronic, the first gear feels like it's far away with the J shifter. But I love the spacious. There's heaps of headroom. I'm not a very tall guy. I'm only about 5'7", 5'8", but 5'8" on a good day. But even if you're a taller person, you feel like there's a lot of headroom. Yeah, so I would say the space is a definite plus, especially if you're a bigger guy and you're doing a lot of long trips. It's a very good car for that. So with the interior as well, it's very sturdier than what you would feel on a lot more modern Jags, or even the X300. The X300 feels quite fragile compared to this. And since my brother has the X300, I kind of know that by experience, that the plastic is just not as good. All the leather in here is very nice. Everything is really sturdy. The wood's nice. The clear coat will tend to peel on it. It's a fairly easy fix, so it's not a big deal. But I've taken this interior apart over and over again, and I haven't really had any issues of anything breaking. The only one is this common one in the glove box, bottom of the glove box, that pops off, and also the door handles. The trim around the door handles is pretty shit. It's only holding by a little screw. What can you do? Other than that, it's really sturdy, and I'm in and out of this car all the time. I got passengers in and out of all the time. I'm never having issues of stuff actually breaking. So if for build quality, it's just I think it's very solid. Staying with the interior, we have the digital dash, which is awesome. It just looks really nice. It goes with the styling and the year of the car. You've got plenty of technology it came with too. You can track all your fuel, your distance mileage. It's got cruise control. It's got all the bits and bobs that you'll need. It all comes up on a digital dash, so that's quite good for its time, because you got to remember it's an 87. This wasn't a super common theme. I've swapped out my steering wheel now. The trouble with these XJ40s is they come with a massive steering wheel. It's a big car, I get it, but they're just a bit too big. It blocks off half the dash too. You want to be able to see your cool looking dash, so that's why it's got an aftermarket steering wheel. And I tried to get one that kind of matched the interior and was sturdy as well. Ashtrays everywhere, which I was smoker, so I like. But these old cars, you'll find it on probably any car up until the mid 2000s, just full of ashtrays. This one's got one in every door, center console, back of the center console. Another thing I love about my XJ40 is the sunroof. No matter what car that I own, I've got to have a sunroof. I don't know what it is, maybe it's a claustrophobic thing or something, but I always love having a sunroof, and it comes with it, so fucking no need to cut a hole in the roof. I know people don't like sunroofs because of leaking and that. I haven't had any of those issues, so for now I still love my sunroof. Before we move on to the exterior of the car, of the things that I love and like, this cool little glove box flip out mirror. That's about it. I did not realize how dirty it was up here. So I think, starting off in the exterior, I want to start with the body lines. This car is absolutely stunning. I feel like it's a good mixture of the old Series 3 XJ6 or Series 2 with a retro styling and more of a boxy but still keeping that curve shape. I absolutely love the bonnet. It's just a typical Jag bonnet with a massive bulge and it just looks beautiful. The body lines through the doors and that, it's just a very stunning looking car. And from every angle too, I feel like it just looks really nice. And a lot of people too are not gonna jump out it's a Jag. A lot of time they'll see it and be like, oh, it's beautiful, or they think it's an old 5 Series BMW or something silly like that. But just, I think the body lines are absolutely stunning on it, and it's a really beautiful car for the age. I think when it came out, it wasn't as popular for that, but honestly, I feel like it's aged pretty well. It doesn't look any modern or anything, but it does look like an 80s car, and that's when it was built. So I feel like if it's still looking like an 80s car, I'm pretty happy with it. I love the mirrors aren't huge on these. You'll get with the later Jags, the X300, X308, S-Type and the X350, the mirrors, the wing mirrors are just massive on it. And they kind of take away the look of the body lines and that. Where with these mirrors, they're nice and snug, they're cool, but you still have plenty of visibility out those mirrors. So, but it kind of keeps the car intact more. It doesn't give it that kind of big boat wide look, but you kind of get with some of the later XJs. The forward opening bonnet, or I think the proper term for it is clamshell bonnet. Other than it looks really cool, it's actually quite practical. You can see the 2 little lights on it as well. You never know when your Jag's going to break down, if it's the middle of the night. Instead of you having to hold a flashlight, it's useful having those 2 lights there. So the forward opening bonnet, it also gives easier access to the engine bay, and that kind of brings me on to my second one, is the actual engine bay. I quite like it on these cars. It's always a lot easier with a straight 6 to work on these cars, and since I do all my own work, it's a lot easier. The engine bay's not hiding anything either. You can pretty much access everything from the top, which is helpful. You're not having to get on your back. I mean, of course you got to do it sometimes, but it's very accessible. The engine bay is a lot more, it's a lot easier to work on than people kind of think too. A lot of people get nervous with Jags and that, but with this model and with the XJ40, and especially the 3.6, I'm not counting the V12, that's a whole can of worms, but with the 3.6 or even the 4 litre, it's quite simple to work on. So here in New Zealand, we have our Falcons and Commodores, and it's easier to work on than any Falcon that I had. It's quite, everything's there, everything's accessible. There's not too much overcomplicated technology. They did have the hydraulic system and the self-leveling rear suspension, but as you can see on mine, I've ripped that out and put a XJ Series 3 vacuum booster setup in. Just way more simple. There's really not that much to it. So if you are getting XJ40, you have an XJ40 from 87 to 1990, I would recommend scrapping the hydraulic system and the self-leveling system and just putting in a booster setup. It's just a lot easier. The quad headlights. So it being a Sovereign, it actually comes with the big long fish tank headlights, and that was the first thing I got rid of. But lately they've actually been growing on me, but I think I'm going to stick with the 4. I think the 4 just looks really cool. I know people mistaken it for BMWs and blah 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 blah, but I honestly think it looks really cool, and it fits the really theme of the car. It kind of ties in the front end a lot more. And speaking of front ends, one of my other favorite bits about this car is the quite low front splitter. It actually is quite low just from stock, even though this car is lowered, but it is quite a low splitter, and it looks awesome. Along with the splitter, you also have 2 brake cooling ducts on each end of it. So not that, you know, it depends if you're going to be really braking the shit out of this car, but other than it looking cool, it is useful to have pipes right to cool down your brakings. My favorite feature on the exterior, or most practical, is the fuel cap on top of the rear lift arch, or I guess boot. Why I like it so much is you can park on either side of the gas station and you can easily reach it over or whatever, so it's just practical. The downside of it though is it just water can get into it quite a lot, so you got to make sure it's sealed up quite well. My one's not. I need to make a new cup for it, but and make sure that drain hole's clear so the water can actually clear out of it. That's the downside, but the upside is I'm lazy and I don't have to park on the right side of the gas station. One of my other favorite features, I guess mechanically, is it comes stock with a limited slip diff and independent rear suspension. So I mean, you're never going to turn down an LSD and an independent rear suspension, and you can really feel it. This car, for its age and when it was built, it handles amazing. Even though I know I've replaced all the shocks and the bushing, but it's very tight, especially the rear end of the car, and you can really hammer it around corners and it will hold on. And it really grips, it really gets the power down. I know it's not pushing a whole lot of power, but even in the lower power ones, you still want to be able to grip even when it's wet, even as that. So the LSD and independent rear suspension helps with that, and of course it's just a lot safer too. I think what really sets this car apart and what catches people's eyes at it nowadays is the beautiful stainless on it. And this is none of this crappy plastic chrome. This is pure, nice, beautiful stainless. And it's the original 35-year-old one. I give it a polish every now and again, but it's absolutely stunning. And on a beautiful sunny day like this, and you're driving down the road, it catches everyone's attention and eyes, and it probably blinds them, but it looks awesome. The Sovereign also comes with headlight window washers. Mine don't work, but they're there. So another cool thing with the Sovereign is it's all got tinted windows, rear, front, sides. It's all factory tinted glass. I don't know if this was a dealership option or just when the person bought this car, this is what he wanted done, or whatever the case may be, but tinted glass always looks cool, and it's just one other thing I didn't have to do with it, so that's always a plus. Alright, so that was everything off the top of my head that I like and love about my 1987 Jaguar XJ40. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Yeah, so have a good one. See you later.